I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review, and this is actually another review for Eelco, but this is a PayPal request, so thank you so much for that. If people want to send in pretty much any type of request, reviews, topics, reactions, re-reviews, what have you, you just send a request either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Now this is for the 2020 film Greenland, which I had heard about, and it stars Gerard Butler. It's directed by the same guy that directed him in Angel Has Fallen, which I was not much a fan of. I would say I like this more than Angel Has Fallen, because I liked Olympus Has Fallen, and I didn't mind London Has Fallen, but Angel Has Fallen, I thought that was a step down, at least for me. I also saw another film that the director made called Shock Collar, which I reviewed on this channel. Quite enjoyed it. This one is another disaster movie for Gerard Butler, because he did Geostorm, and I know a lot of people hate Geostorm. I think I reviewed that. I really enjoyed that. It's dumb, yes. Geostorm is dumb. Geostorm is ridiculous. But I thought Geostorm was fun. I liked the special effects. I liked Gerard Butler. It went at a good pace. I mean, it brought me back to when I saw films like Volcano and Independence Day and films of that nature that, again, were not the smartest when it comes to plot, but I still found a good chunk of fun, at least in my opinion. I know I'm alone in that. This one is more of a grounded disaster movie compared to something like Geostorm. The plot of the film is kinda a little bit of Deep Impact and a little bit of 2012, because it deals with a comet coming by, and at first people think, oh, it's just going to pass us by, but as it gets closer they realize there's going to be an extinction level event. So there's this list and people that go into these bunkers. That remind me a little bit of Deep Impact. Also, one of the characters wants to reunite with her father, at least for a little bit, which remind me of the Taya Leone stuff in Deep Impact. And then the other chunk of the film is this race to get to this bunker, to get to this safety point in the nick of time. That remind me a bit of 2012, where John Cusack had to get his family a race against time to get to safety. So it's one of those things when you look at this type of film, you know, what can they really do that's different? And to me, not much. I mean, what more can we do with a disaster movie? We've had aliens, we've had tornadoes, we've had asteroids, we've had comets, we've had Cupids, Donners, Blitzens. I mean, we've had fucking everything dealing with disasters. So you can only look at them individually. Gerard Butler, I like him as an actor. I thought he does a good job once again. If you're not a Gerard Butler fan, you probably wouldn't see this film anyway, but I am a Gerard Butler fan. I like him as a performer. Like I said, I liked him in Geostorm. I like him in this. He was not the problem in Angel Has Fallen. There was other stuff. He plays an architect. He's estranged from his wife, but they're trying to put the pieces together. They have a son who has diabetes, and he gets these presidential alerts, which is only given to certain people to get to this rendezvous for this bunker. Meanwhile, there's an impact in Florida that sends shockwaves going over 1,500 miles, and they realize, okay, something dire is going to happen. And when I say more grounded, it does try to go a bit more for the emotional pull. Like when they are driving and their neighbors are begging, please take my daughter. He's like, I can't. And the wife say, why aren't you doing it? And Gerard Butler goes, well, what do you want me to do? Take her, and then when we get there, they say no to her. They're only going to let certain people in. Which is true. I mean, they only have enough room, so they're not going to take everybody, so there'd be no point. I mean, I can understand that predicament. Now, there are some bits of action sequences. There's a bit where some have to run away from an airplane because there's a fuel leak in and the airplane explodes. There's another one where Gerard Butler's in the back of a vehicle and he's fighting with these guys who are trying to take his bracelet that will get him where he needs to go. And decently shot where you see the outside of them fighting in the back of this truck, and the truck does like a 180 and people fly out. There's another one where he's driving, avoiding these little debris falling down, these little, I don't know if I want to call them meteorites, this is a comet, but little bombs pretty much going off, and he has to avoid it. Which, I mean, I've seen that before in other films, but it was nicely done in this. The mom and the kid, I can't really say I gave too much of a shit about them. The kid, the actor wasn't bad with the kid. The kid actor wasn't bad, to be fair. It's just more of certain things he did just to move the plot along. Like he stupidly wanted his blanket and he dropped this medicine, which then led to this ruckus where the family separated. I'm like, kid, if you didn't deal with your fucking blankie, a lot of this, most of this movie would not have happened. And then the military won't let the kid in because he has diabetes and they don't want anyone with illnesses. And then Gerard Butler separated from his wife and kid, and because they're separated, she goes, okay, we're separated, I'm gonna go to my dad's, which is Scott Glenn. You meet us there. So it's pretty much her and her kid on a journey, and then Gerard Butler on a journey, both to Scott Glenn's farmhouse. And like I said, Gerard Butler, he's dealing with people trying to take his bracelet. It's not an action movie, it's not like him, the tear for Olympus fallen. That'd be pretty cool, actually. That's not the case, though. You know, the mother and her son, this couple pick him up, but then the guy goes, you know what, how about I take your kid, and you couldn't get him, maybe we could get him over with the military. And the mom's like, what are you talking about? And even the guy's wife's like, what are you talking about, hon? So they tip the mom out and they take the kid because they want to use him to get into the bunker. Which, I mean, sadly with human beings I can see that happening. I mean, with the film, if you've seen enough disaster movies, there's really nothing here that will make you go, wow, I never saw that before, or wow, that's original. Again, there's elements that remind me of 2012, only not as grandiose as 2012 in the slightest, or a little bit Deep Impact or other stuff. And overall, I liked it okay. I wouldn't say I loved it. Geostorm, I liked that movie more because it was more, yeah, more dumb, but it was more fun and bigger and just, that did have some stuff I'd never seen before, which made it even more fun. Just the whole idea of satellites that are affecting the weather, that sounds like a James Bond plan. But I'm fine with that. I mean, again, that's part of my enjoyment of Geostorm. Here, this is definitely a movie that I think would go well, that would go better with critics compared to a film like Geostorm. Because, like I said, it does try to go a little bit more for the emotions. And I thought Gerard Butler definitely sold that. For a medium budgeted movie, the effects are not that bad. A lot of times they look in the sky and they see the comet heading towards them or remnants of the comet. Pretty decent special effects for, I think they say it's like a $35 million budget. Again, not too shabby. They didn't look that cheap at all, at least not to me. It's pretty good effects for that budget. I would say there were a couple of decent action sequences. Scott Glenn, nice to see him in there. You know, the ending, it doesn't swerve you with a WTF ending or out of the blue, completely depressing ending. I was going to list examples. If I did that, I'd be spoiling those movies. So it doesn't do that. And so when I got done watching, I go, if you like disaster movies, this is worth a watch. Again, don't expect anything big, grandiose, like a Roland Emmerich movie. Some people say that's a good thing. But I liked a lot of Roland Emmerich's films. Again, it's a bit more grounded compared to those. I do think there's maybe 15 or so minutes that could be cut out of it to help the pacing a little bit. Just like I said, I mean, there's bits of action, but it's not, I was going to say it's not an action movie, but I guess, you know, there's little bits of action, you could call it that. I mean, between the two, I would take 2012 over this, despite how over the top it is, but 2012 is definitely more fun film. I mean, this is, like I said, a bit more dramatic. It's worth a look at the very least for Gerard Butler. And, you know, yeah, the plot has been done before. It's nothing original if you've seen a lot of these type of films. And again, it's not going to be anything, don't expect Independence Day 2020, don't expect those humongous budgeted set pieces. There's a couple decent set pieces, but like a handful. It was a time waster. It was okay. It was nothing that made me mad or angry. I'm glad I saw it once. I don't see myself ever owning it in my collection. But, you know, the mom, serviceable character. I know sometimes she would just complain a bit too much. The kid, not a bad actor. He did a couple dumb things though. You know, the three of them together, they had some nice family emotional moments, to be fair. I know it's not much of a recommendation, because again, I mean, there's not been a lot of movies in 2020 to talk about, and less so 2020 movies to give a shit about. Maybe this would be in the top 10 because there's just not that many movies. I have to think about it. I have to look at a list. But, like I said, it's okay. It's alright. Yeah, I think maybe people who don't like those over-the-top, dumb disaster movies, maybe this would be more to your liking. Because it's, like I said, a bit more grounded and try to be a bit more emotional. This seems more like Deep Impact than Armageddon. Maybe that's the best way to put it. Like, more Deep Impact and less 2012. even though some of the plots kind of like 2012, but like the race to get to the safety, but it's trying to be more of a feel of like Deep Impact, if that makes sense. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye bye.